Okay, so we are doing a card sort today with our test subject, Nathan. Say hi, Nathan.
Hi, guys.
And here are all of our cards laid out on the desk. We have extra paper and cards. Nathan just finished reading the persona. He's going to be the Chinese language teacher, and we've given him this read-through so that he can internalize all the things that he's going to be doing in his sorting and coming to the China 360 online website. So with that, Nathan, I'm going to ask you to just start sorting things. And obviously there's a lot of cards here right now, so take a moment to read through. And you know, you may find that it's easier to start to lump things together or just start to make specific groupings, however you'd like. But the important thing is that you talk through what you're doing so that we understand the thought process you're going through.
Okay.
All right.
I'm kind of looking over all the cards right now, and the first thing that sort of jumps out at me are the resources, which are pretty easy to sort of lump all together. So I'm going to start there and sort of pile the resources together. I'm going to make a pile for more utilitarian sections of the site, like this contact us and support us. Create a section that is all about the students' contributions, like student-generated content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of create a section that is all about the various teachers.
So what are you grabbing there?
I've got teacher community, teacher blogs, administrator forums, and the adult higher education learning materials. I'm going to leave that out for the time being.
And because this is our training video for China Institute, I will just note that it's always good to weigh in with questions or comments if you think that the person's stuck or needs some help or maybe needs questions answered, but try not to lead them in a specific way to tell them to put certain things together or not.
I'm going to start to create a bucket that is all about classes, courses, schedules.
So as a teacher, you would feel then that those would be placed together. You would look for those things together.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I'm going to start creating a section that is relative to the organization itself, like this, our funders. It's not really related to any individual type of content. It's all about the institution itself. So about the institute, funders. I'm going to say jobs is probably good to put in that section. I'm going to create a section. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that is sort of multimedia in nature, videos and photos and slideshows and that sort of thing. So I'm going to start putting those together. I think I'm probably going to break all the course-related stuff up a little further, but I'm just kind of lumping it together in a general sense right now.
So again, for the audiences in China Institute, you can see how the table is starting to get somewhat organized into piles, and as Nathan has noted, he feels like he's going to go back and do some work on them, but he's doing probably, I guess we'd call this, an initial sort, just to get your brain around the content that's here and where it makes sense to you as a language teacher. And if there are ones that you're having trouble figuring out where they go, just talk through why you might not be sure where to put something, or if you think it might go in a couple places or what have you. So it looks like you've got a couple left that are sitting there.
I've got a couple left that don't comfortably fit. There's always a few that don't comfortably fit into anything. Okay, so I'm kind of comfortable with my basic buckets now. So now I'm going to kind of go back.
So walk us through what buckets you have currently, and we'll see how they might change as you go through. So this is.
So I've got a bucket that is sort of geared towards the teachers right now. A bucket for student-generated content. I've got a bucket for slideshows and other sort of multimedia sort of stuff. this grouping is stuff for the actual educators themselves. I can probably put it in relation with the teachers and other administrators somehow.
And this big group down here is what?
This was all materials and stuff related to courses for anyone interested in actually taking a course.
Okay.
So now I'm going to try to subdivide this stuff up.
Or what's your thought process behind your...
Some of these are a little more specific, so I'm just trying to kind of subdivide the grouping. It almost seems like we can sort of organize these by age grouping, I think. So I'm going to start young and sort of organize them from young to old.
So now Nathan's looking around at the rest of the table to see if there's anything he wants to move around, I'm assuming.
Looking for anything that kind of overlaps or can be sort of grouped together into kind of a larger system of organization. So these guys here, I'm assuming these are just sort of global mechanisms by which to interact with the website and the organization. So I think I'll kind of put those off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
All of this information are things related to the overall institution.
So are you feeling comfortable with what you've put together, or are you still playing around a little bit?
Still playing.
All right, and then I know you've got a couple stragglers there that we'll want to get your input on. So here are the stragglers that Nathan's struggling with.
Featured educator.
Featured educator.
I'm going to put that in with everything that is of interest to teachers and educators.
With your language teacher sensibilities in mind, this would make sense to you. This is where you'd look to find things. You'd expect those things to be put together. Okay.
I believe this should go where all of the events and courses are sort of described.
Okay. Well, let's zoom out here and look at our table. Hey, what do you know? We've got some organization going on here. Now, do you feel pretty comfortable with what you have? And I mean, if there's any last things you want to move around, if you're happy, then what we'll want you to do is use these pieces of paper and this pen and just write up kind of a general descriptor of what you would call each section. It doesn't have to be the name that we'd use on the website so much as it needs to describe why things were together.
Materials and resources. Call this whole thing, I'm thinking community. Call this section about
going on to ones that are easier, huh? Okay.
site tools.
Okay, I mean, you don't have to come up with the final name on it. Just the reasons why you put those together is fine.
Courses and events. This will be 4 teachers.
All right. And how would you, just out of curiosity, the distinction between the community section that you made and the 4 teachers in your mind is what?
This section to me seems like it's more of a back and forth discussion area, whereas all of this stuff is sort of a set of provided information. that's intended for teachers specifically.
Okay, that's very helpful. I mean, because obviously there's a lot of content here that you were kind of moving back and forth, so it's helpful to know that. And then again, if you want to say what's the difference in the stuff that's for teachers that you put here versus the materials and resources, how did you decide, or what do you feel is kind of the reason why one would go in one versus the other?
Well, materials and resources, for the most part, are for teachers, but not all.
As a teacher, you felt that having a specific section that was called out for you made sense in some places, and then in others, maybe more of a combination of things. Was that a good summary of what you were feeling?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Nathan, and I hope everyone enjoyed the card sort. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
One thing before we go, we forgot to mention that once the person is done with the card sort, you need to take pictures and or write down the exact sorting of how everything was done. So the name that they came up with, as well as all of the cards that were placed in that section. So in this case, we would have community, for teachers, courses and events, materials and resources, about, and site tools. And so what we tend to do is take photographs and then write them down later. But the photographs are good in case you had any questions later. You can just pick up your image and check it out. So that's your last step, and then any analysis that you want to provide will be really helpful in analyzing how to go from there.